Good morning, Warzone kids. Got a fun little Zen story for you. It's called Good News, Bad News. Who can say? Grandpa Abram got him a baler, finally. Best thing ever happened to him in his life. Great news, we got a baler. Don't have to do it by hand anymore. That's amazing. Neighbors come down to see it. Neighbor had done Grandpa Abram a favor a while back, so neighbor needed that baler. Grandpa Abram loaned it out against his better judgment. That neighbor took that baler, trashed it out, gummed it up, would never work again. Brought that baler back. Sorry. It's the worst thing ever happened. That's what Uncle Norman said. Worst thing ever happened to me. Don't worry about it, boy, Grandpa Abram said. Well, Uncle Norman did worry about it. Took his rifle, went to that neighbor's house when he wasn't there, shot his roof full of holes. Pretty good revenge. Next time it rained, that neighbor had plenty of work to do and there weren't no way around it. Grandpa Abram found out about it. Boy, that's the best news I've ever heard in my life. Well, time went past. Grandpa Abram got himself a new baler. This time Uncle Al went out there showing neighbor how to use it. And Uncle Al wore a long sleeve shirt. That shirt sleeve got caught in that baler. Yo! Turned around, ripped his whole shirt off. He had to pull out of it lest he get hung up in that baler. That's the worst thing ever happened to me, he said. Well, you see, life is like that. The good news and the bad news, hard to tell apart. That's a fun little Zen story. Zen for fun and Zen for blood. Thing about fun little Zen stories is they work in real life, on real things, at real levels of seriousness. But they lose a lot of the fun part when you're doing that. I can think of the day I got married. Best day of my life. Best thing ever happened to me. And 20 years later, I got divorced. That's the worst thing ever happened to me. 20 years of my life felt like it fell apart in my face. Worst thing ever happened to me. Well, I found out after that I had a chance to live a life I'd never really lived before. My own. Best thing ever happened to me. Chance to find out who I was. In the course of doing that, I caused a lot of pain to people around me. People I love, my children. They got caught up in that, no way around it. They were just innocent bystanders caught up in my blast radius. When I think on that, worst thing ever happened to me in my life was watching that happen and seeing the effects that what was a good thing, I thought at the time for me, had on them. But it all just happened. A while after that, when the dust settled in my life, I realized I wanted a knockdown, drag out romance. Kind you have when you're a kid. And I went out and I had me one. It was amazing. Best thing ever happened to me. Went on for several years. Wouldn't trade any of it. Then it ended in fiery betrayal. Worst thing ever happened to me as an adult. By far, I would say. Then after that, we got back together for a little while. That was amazing. Best thing that ever happened to me. Then I learned that the first fiery betrayal had only been a warm up for the second. And that was far worse. That was really the worst thing that ever happened to me. It felt like my head cracked open and narcissism came oozing out all over my face and down my shirt like a perfectly poached egg. That was the worst thing ever happened to me. I saw that for those years I'd mostly been having an affair with the inside of my head, just using this other woman as a projection screen for the romance I wanted to have. I wanted to have a knockdown, drag out romance, and I got one. Careful what you ask for. I didn't specify, and I ended up being the one that got knocked down and dragged out. That's terrible. Then after that, after my head cracked open and my brains came running out all over the place, I saw how much of my whole life I've been living inside my head, using the whole world as a projection screen for what I wanted to see and the life I wanted to live, and seeing myself as a Ben that only existed in other people. I was whatever I could get other people to believe I was, like myself. I had no idea. But when that egg, my skull, cracked open, and that narcissism came oozing out, I had a chance to live. I had a chance to really and truly become myself and to see that all that time, decades of my life, I'd just been living right inside here, using the whole world as nothing but a projection screen for what I wanted to see. I saw it. Most painful thing I've ever had in my life was seeing that part of myself right clear, right in front of my face, like I was looking in a mirror. Then I started to live a kind of life I'd never dreamed of before. I started to learn and become who I was. That's the best thing that's ever happened to me, by far. And it happened to me because the worst thing that ever happened to me. And I'm a war zone kid. When I was a young child, I was caused a lot of sexual, psychological, emotional, and physical harm at a young age. By far, worst thing that ever happened to me. Unimaginable. Took my Jenga tower so far apart it would hardly stand up. I just now, a few minutes ago, left a hidden water circle where I sat with 6 other child sex abuse survivors. And one of us shared our experience, and the others listened. We shared to be understood, and we listened to understand. And the other 6 of us all heard ourselves in the person that shared. And then we shared our response. And then I think that person saw a little bit of herself in the 6 of us. And I belonged in that group, and I belonged with those people. Those were 7 other beautiful people. I wouldn't change a thing about them. Except if I had a magic wand, I'd take away their suffering. But sitting right there in that circle with them is the closest thing any of us has. And right now, I feel like that's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Sitting in that circle with those people. Feeling a feeling of connection with my fellow human creatures. Feeling that the past, which is heavy as a mountain, and the future, which is heavy as a mountain, just don't matter. Because in the present moment, my heart and my soul are light as a feather. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Because of the worst things that ever happened to me. Good news? Bad news? Who can say? Good day out there on the trail, Pilgrim. It's late, and it's dark and snowy out, but we ain't going to let that stop us. We can get a few more miles in before bed. Let's walk them together, Pilgrim. We got a lot to talk about.